Oh, hey everybody, my name is Santa Rice. Welcome back to another wrestling video. It's the time of the month where we talk about my 10 favorite matches of the previous month. So this video has been uploaded in December. We're going to be talking about 10 great matches that happened in WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, AEW, New Japan, everywhere and everywhere. We talk about them. This is something we do every single month. And if you like wrestling, if you like independent wrestling, heck, even if you like backyard wrestling, I have my own wrestling promotion, link in the description. You can check that out. It's pretty good, pretty entertaining. So anyways, we're going to talk about, and these are in no particular order by the way, these are just 10 matches that I found to be quite enjoyable. So we're going to talk about those. First up, the first half of this video is pretty much all matches from AEW Full Gear. You know, when you go to a wrestling show, it's much different. Shut up, phone. Than watching it at home. It's much more exciting. It's much more engaging. So I had a better time at Full Gear in person than I probably would have had watching at home. I mean, I think that goes for any wrestling show, really, except for the main event. I did not really care for the main event. I was very excited for it, but the whole injury angle with MJF, I think it just kind of diminished it a little bit. And not a little bit, a lot of it. Kind of ruined the match. And the match was very long, and I don't know. I wish they just would have gotten something better to do, MJF and Jay White, because I know they're capable of really great things. The match itself wasn't horrible. It was just everything that was kind of going on around it just kind of killed the vibe, you know? Especially when there was much better matches on the card. Like in the pre-show, Eddie Kingston versus Jay Lethal for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Now these two guys, I saw this match and I was like, that's a pre-show match? That's crazy. World title, Ring of Honor on the line. And you got something like Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley on the main show. Flip-flop the two around, I think it would have made more sense, but hey, at least we still got this match. I gave it 4 stars. Both of these guys just know how to wrestle, and wrestle pretty damn well, especially that Jay Lethal. I love Jay Lethal. Next up, also from AEW Full Gear, is the AEW World Tag Team Ladder Match. Big Bill and Ricky Starks versus FTR versus Kings of the Black Throne, Malachi and Brody, versus LFI, Rush and Dralistico. Now, this is just kind of like a hodgepodge match. Get everyone on the show kind of match. Yes, they were beefing a little bit beforehand on Collision, and all teams were just kind of intersecting with each other. I was off and on watching Collision at the time when all these wrestlers were feuding. I kind of lost interest a lot in Collision after CM Punk left. So yeah, I don't know exactly what the beef was between all these guys, but I knew they were feuding at the time. But, so yeah, but the match itself, I think, was pretty great. It was quite the spectacle, I would say. Cash Wheeler, I would say, stole the show. He jumped on, he did a giant splash onto a ladder. Yeah, really, Cash Wheeler was the one guy I took away from this match. Like, man, he is a star. I really wish they would give Cash Wheeler more singles matches. Dax gets all the singles matches, and he always loses. But Cash, we want to see a Cash Wheeler singles match. Come on, Tony Khan, you can do it. For the TBS Championship, Chris Statlander versus Julia Hart versus Sky Blue. I give this one 3.5 stars. Again, star ratings don't really matter. I just put them on here to give a frame of reference on how much I liked it compared to a different one. I don't know. Star ratings are all relative. You have your own star ratings. But mine would be 3.5. Julia Hart won the match. I think that's the big takeaway from this one. And it was pretty good. There was lots of back and forth action. The storyline was all there. You kind of knew who was in this match and why. A big story being Sky Blue's kind of spooky little heel turn. And really the feud was on Sky and Julia, I would say. And I'm glad Julia Hart walked away with the win. So yeah, Chris had she had an alright title reign, but her time was over. Nothing like the Jade Cargo reign, I might say, but hopefully Julia's is a little better. And then we have the match that everyone was talking about at the end of the show. The Texas Death Match. Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland. You know, I gave this one a 4.5 stars. A lot of people watching this video would probably give it a 5. I know my brother and my sister and my girlfriend, who were all at the show with me, would say 5-star match of the year just because of the insanity of it all. But with the amount of wrestling that I personally have watched this year, I can't give this one a 5-star because it's just not as good as some of the other matches I've seen this year. Like the Iron Man match, MJF and Bryan, you know, I gave that one a 5-star. And is this one as good as the Iron Man match? No. So I can't put it on the same level. You see what I'm saying here? But it was good in its own right, and I gave it a high rating, gave it 4.5. That's the highest match I've rated this month, other than one more, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, I think being there in person, it was hard to tell, like, you know, like the whole, like the staple gun and everything like that, and like the little barbed wire moments they did. It was hard to tell what was going on, especially because they didn't have a screen in the Kia Forum. So you watch that match back. I watched it back. You could see all like the little moments. Like, I didn't know he was staple gunning them into his face. Like, whoa, that was crazy. That's a crazy visual right there. I didn't realize how much Swerve was bleeding from his face. That was something that you could only pick up on when you watched it back. But all in all, being there in person, just the environment and everyone going, oh my god, everyone was losing their minds of how crazy it was, and Prince Nana going through a table. It was just pure chaos. And sorry folks, last time for Full Gear, then we'll move on to other shows. Sting, Adam Copeland, and Darby Allin versus Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. I would say, wrestling-wise, this is probably the match that made the most sense, I would say, because you had your clear faces, you had your clear heels, you knew why everyone was in that match, you knew why everyone was feuding with each other, you know, Adam Copeland and Christian and Darby and Nick Wayne and all this stuff, and I just kind of came together in a perfect match. Ric Flair was there ringside, he got a little bit of action, and it was just perfect way to start the show. Heck, it could have even ended the show. If I knew that was the main event, I would have flip-flopped the two. So there you go. Great match. Moving on from Full Gear, we have a little bit of New Japan coming at you for the New Japan World TV Championship. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Mike Bailey. Speedball Mike Bailey, I should say. This one was similar to the Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr. match from the previous month. I believe that was in October that happened. Similar in the way that this is still a TV Championship match. So there was a certain time limit on it. And once the Will Ospreay won a TV Championship match? I don't remember. But anyways, there was a time limit on this one. And the two just went at it as hard and as fast and as intense as they could. Zack Sabre Jr. is a submission machine, and Speedball Mike Bailey pulls moves out of his ass like you've never seen before. So, great match, 4 stars. And Zack Sabre has held on to that TV title for a very long time. Is he gonna lose it at Wrestle Kingdom against Hiroshi Tanahashi? Yes, no, maybe so. I don't know. I don't think so. I think he'll hold on to it. Next up, we have from AEW Dynamite, Samoa Joe versus Keith Lee for the Ring of Honor Television Championship. I gave this one 3.5 stars. This is from the November 8th edition of Dynamite. So these two men, two heavyweights, two big behemoths, and I've always talked about how I love and admire Keith Lee. I've been following him for a long time. Same with Samoa Joe, you know, but everybody knows Samoa Joe is a legend, and whenever he shows up, people are like, oh my god, someone's going to get wrecked. I sort of had the feeling for Keith Lee for a long time. As Keith Lee showed up, oh man, it's going to be a banger. I think he's gotten a little watered down when it comes to AEW. He had that great title reign with Swerve, and he had that great feud afterward with Swerve, and there was no payoff match to that. It was kind of disappointing, and they added Dustin Rhodes into there, and it got a little complicated, a little weird, and then nothing happened because of that, and Keith Lee's just kind of been buried after that moment. But so this was a nice elevation a little bit for Keith Lee. He didn't win the title. Samoa Joe relinquished the title afterwards, which at that point I was like, why don't just give it to Samoa Joe? Why don't just give it to Keith Lee? Keith Lee is feuding now with Shane Taylor, and Shane Taylor also wanted the TV championship a little while back at All Out, and so he was feuding with Samoa Joe. So why not just have this match be for the TV title at the upcoming Ring of Honor pay-per-view? And it's the best of both worlds. That Shane Taylor gets what he wants. Keith Lee wants to beat Shane Taylor's ass. I don't know, but anyways, the title has been relinquished. It was a great match though. Anyways, from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Power Struggle Super Junior Tag League 2023 on November 4th, 2023, we have for the Never Openweight 6-Man Tag Team Championship, Kazuchika Okada and Tomohiro Ishii and Hiroshi Tanahashi for Zack Sabre Jr., Mikey Nichols, and Shane Haste. I gave this one 4 stars. This is just a giant clash of wrestling stars, wrestling machines. Zack Sabre Jr. is back at it again. Okada always given a very, very solid match wherever he goes. I don't think I've ever seen a bad Okada match in my life, and I've seen quite a few Okada matches, and they've all been pretty great actually. And this is no different. 4 stars for this one. There's not much more I can say about this. I don't really know a lot of the story leading up into this one, but hey, it happened. I watched it. I thought it was great, and then afterwards you get Bryan Danielson challenging Okada once again, and that one is gonna be even better. So before we get to the final match of the night that we like to talk about, I want to go through some honorable mentions. And I'm sorry I got to bring up AEW Full Gear one more time, because honorable mention for the women's world title, Hikaru Shida defending against Toni Storm. I gave this one 3.5 stars. Should I say timeless Toni Storm, because Toni Storm has been on fire with her new timeless character. She kind of plays Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard, this kind of eerie old Hollywood actress living out her golden years once again. It's pretty great, and she's very Gloria Swanson-esque in that manner. It's just all around a pretty good time for this match, I would say. 3.5 stars. Nothing too flashy, nothing too special, and Toni Storm got a huge pop when she won, because hey, this is probably the one and only WWE match we have from Monday Night Raw, the Creed Brothers versus Imperium. I didn't put any War Games matches on here. The War Games matches were kind of subpar, to be honest with you, but I really enjoyed the Creed Brothers versus Imperium. Fun fact, this is the very first Creed Brothers match I've ever seen, and this was kind of the tag team gauntlet thing they were doing for the #1 contendership on Monday Night Raw. The reason why I watched this match, and I really never watched Raw, this is the episode that CM Punk debuted on, so I was just kind of waiting until he would show it up, and this match was part of that waiting schedule, and I watched it and I was like, wow, this is actually really good. Creed Brothers really got some of that natural athletic talent, and I've seen Imperium a couple of times on numerous occasions, and I really like their work as well. So there you go, 3.5 stars. And lastly, on the honorable mentions, this is kind of in, let me just say it, the Like a Dragon Street Fight with Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Paul White, and Kota Ibushi versus Powerhouse, Hobs, Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita, and Brian Cage. 3.5 stars. You know, I wanted to put this on the main 10 matches that I really enjoyed this month, but something in my brain was like, no, Xander, you cannot do that. It's not really a wrestling match, it's just a garbage match, meaning that I know in my brain it's bad, but there's something that makes me like it a lot, and that's the other side of my brain. Then like the puro strong style side of me is like, no, this is bad. This is not wrestling. This is a mockery of wrestling. Kota Ibushi is on a bike hitting people at 5 miles an hour. Not even that, 2 miles an hour with a pipe, and it looks awful. Paul White could barely walk. He can't even walk down to the ring, so he got slammed in a car backstage. It's all bad. It's really, really bad, but just like the Texas Chainsaw Death Match, there's something about it that I just really enjoy. And I can't put my finger on. Maybe it's just the pure carnage of it all. Maybe seeing Kota Ibushi get tombstoned onto a stack of chairs and then immediately get up 20 seconds afterwards and just no-sells it. there's something about it that's just magical. And I think this is one of those matches that's going to be looked back on as like, wow, remember that? That was weird. So there we go. That was it for the honorable mentions. Maybe it is in my top 10 now that I'm thinking about it. And anyways, last match we're going to talk about is also from New Japan Power Struggle. Same show as the openweight 6-man match. Will Ospre versus Shota Umino for the IWGP UK Championship. This one had it all. This one had the heart. This one had the talent. This one had the story. Shota Umino is a big up-and-coming star in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And Will Ospre is on his way out. So what happens? So Shota Umino wants to prove himself that he could be the face of New Japan once Will Ospre is gone. Will Ospre is like, yeah, come on. Show me what you got. I'm going to be leaving soon, so come on. Give me your best shot. Give me your best shot and prove to me that you could be the future of this company. And Shota Umino says, alright, I will. And the two have a fight. It's pretty evenly matched for the most part. Will Ospre eventually gets the upper hand and retains the belt, which is going to lead to a match between Moxley and David Finlay, which is interesting. David Finlay is the interesting part. Moxley makes sense, but yeah, this match, probably my favorite match of the month, I would say. This one in the death match, but probably more so this one, because this one had more heart to it. At the end, Shota Umino's crying, and it's great. If you want to see a great Will Ospreay match, if you don't know who Shota Umino is even, take a look at this one. It'll tell you a lot about the two. Anyways, I'm going to keep rambling on forever. I could talk about wrestling for hours, but if you want to subscribe, hit subscribe. This is actually my second channel, actually. You can hit my main channel in the description as well. My name is Andrew Rice. Thank you for watching.